Hi, I'm Johan Otto. I want to show you how to do Nu-Glaze on a steel frame with using the SW4 profile. The thickness of this polycarb sheet is 4mm, so I'm going to demonstrate the SW4 one. It's irrelevant which thickness, and this is polycarb just to show for the demonstration purpose. Steel frame, normal, there's nothing funny about that. This one shows the complete picture, and yeah, let's do this. The first thing that I would like to show is the size of the glass relative to the frame. Now, normally you need about 3 to 4mm plus minus 3 to 5mm space between the glass and the frame. So if you put the glass right to the side and on the bottom, there should be about 6 to 10mm space there and 6 to 10mm space there. So that is the normal, the standard for glass sizing. Anyway, if you putty or whatever the case may be, you need that clearing space for glass to expand. Then exactly the same principle applies to Nu-Glaze. You need that 3 to 5mm clearance on each side. Right, so that's your size of the glass related to your frame. Now the first thing that I always do is to do the bottom cut. I start with my bottom, and now the SW4 profile, you can see, has got a 3 to 4mm gap there where the glass goes in. So that's why I call it the SW4. When you extrude it, there's a bit of in the extrusion process, the back lip tends to close a bit, but it's easy to just pry it open if you need to put the glass in. It's got very specific angled barbs to the side where clips need to engage, and then on the bottom there is a groove or a snap-off line that I've designed in to allow you to snap this front section off when you do the frontal method. I'm showing the full method on this stage. Right, so the first thing to do is obviously you can measure by using a tape measure your frame width. If you can't, I by default use the profile itself, and marks on it is very nice. Obviously a pen or normal HB pencil works also awesome. The first cut is, before I measure to cut, is what I call just out of 90. With other words, it's not 45, it's not 90. Just cutting out a little bit of the material at the back to allow for any welding spots or something that's at the back that's not nice. So I've got that one. I push this against the side, turn the profile flat so that the front nose of the profile, the nose, gets as close as possible to the line where I need to make my mark. That is the most accurate. So I'm aiming that on my scissors anvil, making sure that the base of the profile always at all times is flat on the base of the profile when I do my miter cutting. With other cuttings you can do something different, but with your miter cutting you need to keep this very, very flat on the other one, perfectly, nothing like skew, just perfectly flat. So there you go. That is the out of 90 one. The pencil mark will be on the middle line where the blade comes down on. There you go. And fantastic. I put this, test this for size. Sometimes you need to trim a little bit off to have it perfect. There you go. And sometimes there's a little bit of a rounding in your frame. Now that rounding may cause your profile to not lie flat. So what I do, I turn the profile around, and with the scissors I cut a bit of the sharpness away, just to cause a little bit of a roundness. As you can see, I have a little bit of a round corner, and if you test it, it will lie perfect. It allows for that rounding. So okay, that one is perfect. So that is your bottom. In the beginning, you can write B for bottom. Irrelevant. I by now know what I must do. The next two is the vertical profiles. Now your orientation with your profile regarding to your glass is quite important, because often you cut two of the same. You must just keep ahead. Your profile will be nose out, glass will go in like this. So your bottom corner bottom miter on your verticals is at 45, and the top one will be also just out of 90 or 60, whatever the case will be. So I first do the 45 miter cut. Once again, flat base, flat on the, and on your anvil you've got 45-degree lines that I've marked to aim against. So I aim it, and on the SW4 I cut straight through. That is your 45-degree cut. Now in this case I can measure using the profile, otherwise I should use a tape measure. I once again put it again, prod it against rest it against the frame, turn this flat towards the frame to get the most accurate measurement. There you go. Now, very important, this one is tight. The bottom one is tight measure from side to side. This two will be tight -3, and the top one will be tight -3 millimeters. So there is my mark. So I'll do a 3 millimeters shorter, and in the beginning you can just make a little note, line which direction you want to cut. Always with Nu-Glaze, it will be, if you look the profile from the front, it will be cut inside, because it's an inside miter. Right, now I'll do my cut. Test it for size. It's a bit too long, can happen. Just trim off a little bit. I think that's about perfect. So that's what I call the left vertical. Now for the right vertical, I must turn my profile around. The glass is going in like this. So the top one here will be just out of 90. I can use the frame, put it up against, turn it flat towards the frame, do the measurement, minus the 3 millimeter. So the bottom one here will be 45. 45 for the bottom ones, 60 for the tops. So there you go. Test that for size. Oh, looks perfect. And the last one will be the top horizontal, and both will be 45, 45. So I do a 45 one on that. first do the cut and then the measurement. 3 mm shorter. It's going to be perfect. Let's test it all for size. Looks like it's going to be perfect. Now I do the assembly. Once again, glass might be a bit sharp edges. You can arrow that with a little bit of sandpaper, and just pry the profile open a bit, aim it, and without any silicone now for the dry fit for the test, fit that in, not perfectly in, just to a certain extent, making sure that we've got some that space. That bottom one first, then the two sides. And the sides will be overlapping, that one at the bottom. And the top one lastly will be overlapping those. Reason being that the water flows off and over that mitre, so it will underlap, water will flow over. That's the one reason. The other reason is now you've got to deal with 145 degree line, which need to be neat. Otherwise, if you do two, it's always a problem getting it perfectly every time. So now you've got only one line, and you've got waterproofing. So we test it. Now if you test the profile, first insert the back part. Do not do the whole profile, because this lip is slightly lower than the back. So first put in that section, keeping this one out, and then once everything is in, then you can push it home and it will bend in towards the frame. So there you go, it's hanging out a bit. Oh, beautiful. I can see that the top one is a bit too long. You can see it's not lying on that 45 corner. It's too long, so I'm going to have to adjust that one. That one is good. That one is good. So let's do an adjustment. That's why I do this dry run before silicone, because if there was no silicone, it would have been a mess. Okay. So this one will be having to remove, and you need to trim this one 45, and I cut away literally say 2 mm. You can, for safety's sake, test it again. Oh, beautiful. Right, now I just want to show. Now it's lying perfect all the time in all four corners. Now for the silicone part, easy enough. I've got my profiles now. Put it aside, take it off, and now for the silicone section, put your glass to the side. You insert your silicone tip Just a tip on the silicone, you need to cut this nozzle at a bit of a slant, and with pliers you can just pinch it to a certain a smaller size, just to give a little oblong shape, oval shape nozzle at a slant. So now you insert your nozzle in there and you run it down, continuous bead, very small bead, about 2 to 3 millimeter bead size inside the profile, and you slide it back onto your glass, not like this obviously, but like this. So you slide it, not right to the bottom, just 2 millimeter, 3 millimeter from it, and you keep it. The same with all the other beads. You slide in. If the bead is too long, say for instance it's a big, I got it against my leg, insert, run it like this, and eventually release. So you put your silicone in each beading, refit your beadings onto your glass, back onto your glass. Everyone has now been silicone, and if you do your silicone inside, your beading can now be handled. It doesn't touch your hands. Your glass keeps clean, everything keeps clean, so there's no spillage. You need to work clean on that, because the less you mess, the quicker the process. Now that's aside. Take your silicone gun again and you start depositing silicone on your frame. Now on the full method, you do it right in that corner, little blob, corner, little blob, corner, little blob, corner, little blob. So in each corner there will be a thumbnail sized blob, and in that where the frame meets 5 to 6 millimeter beading. On your bottom line, on your bottom steel profile, I always put with my finger as a guide, I always deposit a small beading just off the edge to make sure the water doesn't ingress. You can do it on the other sides as well. If you've got a window that's facing the weather, you can do the same on the other sides. You will deposit silicone where you think it's needed, to make sure, because this will be the last time that you're going to do it. If you do it well, you're not going to have to do this frame again in 30 to 40 years, if ever. Okay, so now I've got, this is now dry and clean. This is now done with silicone. So you put your profile back, your glass with the profile back into your frame, making sure it seats nicely. Pull it, if you can, pull it into the frame. There you go. Make sure it seats very nice, and that's it. Take a cloth, wipe off any excess that is that may happen, and there you go. Now to finish on the inside, you might need or might want to deposit a little bit of acrylic sealant or polyurethane on the inside, not silicone. Silicone attracts dust and dirt, so it tends to start looking ugly. I use acrylic sealant, white or color matched acrylic sealant, which contains a little bit of it's a hybrid acrylic, but it's just a notch above the normal painter's mate. Do not use painter's mate, it goes yellow and sags. So I complete the beading on the inside, and if there's any openings, I also just dash it with that. Keep a wet cloth with you, because acrylic sealants are normally water based, so you just clean. There's invariably some openings between your frame and the profile, so just touch up and finish off that to perfect. So that is the way to mask your glass. If you want to do the inside silicone, you mask your glass with masking tape, just clearing that horizon of your profile. So if you look from the inside, you'll see just the edge of the masking tape. Right, that is Nu-Glaze, the full installation method with using SW4 on a steel frame. I hope you enjoyed.